Welcome to the actual play and play test of Which is Wyrd, Old John Stuart's Mill. Old John Stuart's Mill is the first adventure in the series focused on helping to teach philosophy as well as have a hell of a fun time. It is available for both DCC and 5e, and its BackerKit will be launching on June 13th, 2025. To culminate on July 14th, 2025. Gathered here today, our intrepid playtesters will be going through this. We're going to start with a player background and then dive into the action. But would everybody like to introduce yourselves before we proceed?
Chris Stagno, Mighty Warrior.
Chris Marshall, Band of Coward.
Hunter Harwood, pretty damn sexy group.
Judge Crow, Ragtag, Ragamuffins.
Tyler Stroud, just four random dudes.
And where do these four random dudes and their fellow unfortunate find themselves tonight? Well, we'll begin with that player background I mentioned. The player background sets this in the world of lore. That is spelled L-O-H-R-E in order to be clever and not too on the nose. But it is a world focused largely on folklore and education that's put out by the publishing company Witch Pleas, of which I am a co-founder and honored to be an author. In the world of lore, one of the most well-established settings is the one of the Hinterwoods, which, as the name suggests, is a primeval forest on the edges of civilization. And so now we begin with the player background, which sets these events solidly within the Hinterwoods. Well, ages before the wind first heard the voices of humankind, the elves of the Hinterwoods used the sorcery of their song and dreams to raise a citadel of deep green, gold-veined stone from the Rockscale River. And this was glamorous Arendelian, the envy of the stars themselves, and its prosperity was unmatched among the fair folks' nations. Yet, gold is always a mixed blessing, and the great riches drew great hungers, just as Arendelian drew the black dragon, Orcelin. As mighty as their magic was, Orcelin was stronger still than the elves. The worm cast down Arendelian and its defenders, scattering those stones for miles over the Hinterwoods and seizing its treasure hoard. Sated and swollen atop underground mountains of enchanted gold, Orcelin slumbered, and, in his indolence, met his match. About a decade before this adventure, Edward, the adventurer king, descended into the deepest reaches of the Hinterwood, and, with his storied band at his side, discovered Arendelian and slew Orcelin. Now, settlers have traveled the crooked course of the river that they call Rockscale, and founded the town of Greenspires among the shattered emerald stones along its shores. This area is rich in natural resources, and the heirs of Edward's dragon slayers, an elected council known as the Council of Five, now rule it from an impressive town hall assembled from those riverside ruins. This makeshift fortress of man's design is meant as a beacon of order in the Hinterwoods. But the forests still howl wild all around, a madding gallery of ever-shifting sorcerer and ever-hungry monsters. And so a call has been put out to adventurers to defend and explore this land, and you have heeded. In the warm confines of the Drunken Dragon Inn, swaddled by the song of bards, you can almost imagine yourself safe. But you are not safe, as the next read-aloud text will suggest. After this player background is established, we now move to the events in the Drunken Dragon. And fear not, both viewers and players, an opportunity to introduce your ragtag band of funnel ruffians will present itself. But first we set the scene. So, spirits are high this evening at the Drunken Dragon, Greenspire's largest and most popular tavern. The orange light from a massive fireplace and dozens of candles casts a warm, shifting glow over the tavern's dark wood tables and comfortable, well-worn chairs. Ale and wine are served in nearly overflowing pitchers, and the smell of roasting meats, baking pies, and sweet pipe tobacco fill the massive hall. The hardworking residents of Greenspires also filled the space tonight, as they often do, with cheerful conversation and a story or song or two. Leading those songs is the bard Gans Vargel, an old man with a long beard, and he is regaling tonight's audience with an adventurous ballad, a classic in this area. It is about how the founding heroes of Greenspire slew the great black dragon Orsolin and claimed the treasures of her hoard for themselves. The ballad's chorus is well known enough that most patrons join Gans as he returns to it, their voices temporarily drowning out all the conversation. Well, all of a sudden, as the song concludes, Gans begins to head back to the table, and he's bearing another round of drinks for you and for your companions, but he nearly spills them, for 3 women rush into the inn and slam the doors quickly behind him. 2 of them appear to be a mother and her young daughter, both in clear states of distress, their clothes worn from rushing through the forest beyond the town. And the other woman wears a breastplate spattered with fresh blood. She carries an axe in each hand. Her hair looks black and greasy, and she wears a left patch over her left eye. You all know her, for she is a personage familiar to the many in this town, Hilda Ashegard, one of the town guard's lieutenants. She raises her voice and addresses the room. Goblins have attacked the Stuart's mill outside of town. We don't know how many there are, but his wife, Margaret, she says, gesturing to the woman who accompanied her, told me that her husband, John, went back to the mill. I need to round up the guards and the town militia to clear the woods and make sure no goblins and reach the town. But every second counts, and poor old John's life is at stake, not to mention the importance of his mill for this town. It'll be a leaner winter for all of us if the goblins burn it to the ground. Are there any brave souls willing to form a vanguard to go get him out of that mill? There's coin in it for all of you as well. And as Hilda concludes her request, Gans gives each and every one of you, many of you, an encouraging look, and he whispers, "This could be the start of your journey. Maybe I'll be singing songs about you someday." Hilda steps up and says, "Well, will you answer? Who are you?" She looks first in the direction of Mr. Marshall's characters. So introduce a few of your funnel goons, if you will.
We are not interested. We have Tybalt Weeshanks will join the band. He is a halfling moneylender. I will not introduce everybody, but my other favorite is Marietta Doppelchins. She is a butcher, and she wields a mean cleaver. So she and a couple of other locals will join in.
No doubt she comes by those Doppelchins honestly.
She is a butcher, after all.
Who else would introduce themselves?
I have a pair of an elf and a dwarf who kind of lead the team, and their names are Near and Far, and they have conscripted a pair of awkward twins to kind of do their bidding and be their meat shields, and their names are Mutt and Jeff.
Classic choices for meat shields indeed. And so that Near and Far are no doubt members of the Hinterwoods community, exotic creatures to the humans, but familiar to this territory. Their guidance will no doubt prove essential. How about you, Hunter? Which of your funnel characters introduce themselves? Hunter, you are on mute.
Classic. As soon as Hilda came in, the male dwarf that I have, Gurdrell, jumped up in response because he's a gate warden, so probably under her command. And his sister, Janella, who's a chimney sweep sitting next to him. He, of course, is immediately ready to run after her. And his sister would be close behind, for they're pretty much always seen together when not working. And then there's Amos the farmer and Fosco the barber, who will be dragged along.
Well, even though chimney sweeps, farmers, and barbers are all important parts of any complete funnel party, it is to the gate warden that Hilda looks and says, "You, be their sergeant, organize them. No doubt there are perils ahead, and all of these, even though they desire to be adventurers, are young yet at the trade. You are seasoned. Lead them well.
Don't you worry. They will be there.
And after hearing that and reassured, she looks over in the direction of Mr. Stroud. Tell us of your funnel characters that introduce themselves.
Raven the Guildbeggar, upon hearing coin, immediately jumped up and then grabbed her crutches and put them back under her arms, and started making her way out the door immediately, knowing that coin was involved. Biggles Fast Mittens, the other town butcher, not wanting to be shown up by his friendly foe within the town, has led the way for my other couple characters as well.
Very good. So we have a butcher v. butcher rivalry. And I'm sure that everybody watching is going to be breathless with anticipation as to how that shakes out. Who will be the top butcher in the town? Raven gets a head start, so we can assume that Raven is actually going to be out of the subsequent events. She's going to be ahead on the trail, though. So first to that gold, hopefully. But let's see what Mr. Stagno has to say about that. Tell us of your funnel characters.
Well, the first and most enthusiastic to respond is Arthur, the squire. He believes that this is his opportunity to seek knighthood, or at least guardsmanship. So he's ready and eager to prove himself. He is also attended by his BFF, who did not go to squire school, Froyo, the halfling wanderer. And they will also be dragging along Leaflet, the elven forester, and Peach, the cobbler.
What a tantalizing band of heroes you have. A mouth-watering mob, to be sure.
Sure.
And yes, Arthur is right. There are huge tracts of land to be had in the outskirts of Greenspire. So maybe this is his shot at a title. Do you have any questions for Hilda? She's already, because of the discussion with the gate warden, starting to sift out the gold promised to you all. And you're happy to see that it's about 15 pieces of gold per person, which is not a small sum. Do you have any questions for her? You notice, by the way, that Gans is watching with a wry smile on his face, as if he's waiting to step in for something. But any interrogation for the town guard?
Arthur will ask if she's coming with us. Most not because he's afraid that if she doesn't, but because he wants to make sure she sees his deeds.
She says, I am not, Arthur. I have to rally the town guard here and make sure that Greenspires is protected. And so while I organize the guard around this town, you are going to be the intrepid souls that go out and see what's happening at the mill and perhaps save old John.
He'll nod. Disappointed.
Then should we not have trusted Gans come along with us so that he can detail for everyone and sing about our escapades?
Well, Gans, as if on cue, lifts himself up on his gnarled shillelagh and balances his frail form upon it. Imagine, if you will, the figure of Gandalf, but much more resplendent in his bearing. A rainbow Gandalf, if you will. He's got a prismatic coat. He's got sort of wry little twists to that long wizard beard. And he takes a draw on his long and twisted pipe as well, and blows a smoke ring in your direction and says to you, well, I cannot accompany you, but my bardic blessings can. Come, we have time enough for me to sing 5 songs. Select those of your number to be blessed by me.
My dwarf steps forward and says, the name's Far, F-A-H-R. Make sure you remember that. Make sure you tell him I'm handsome. And bless me. I choose the blessing.
He says, come near, Far, come near, and I will sing of you. And so he produces that generic bard ukulele and gives it a little strum, and with that begins to sing a song of Far. Now, what song does he sing? Well, we have a table for that, because you are right, Mr. Stroud. You can't have a bard in a scene without a bardic blessing, and you can't have a bardic blessing in DCC without something going strange. And so let us see what odd result Far gets. Give me a D14 roll, please, Crow.
Of course, as a funnel, I only prepped the D20 and the D4.
All right.
I got you if you want.
I got it. A 2.
A 2. And this is appropriate because the song that he sings of Far is about how Far is swift like a sparrow. And so he talks about how Far can cover these far distances very quickly, and he's swift on his feet in all situations. And so you gain +2 initiative. Please note that. And who is
know
next?
how much this means to me. I was born a little limp, and I've always been slow. Thank you so much.
Well, now your joints are limber, and they are coiled like lightning, ready to spring from the clouds. And as for Chris, the max result, oh my goodness, who is going to enjoy that?
Well, it's Flubbert Weinstein, the one you didn't meet. He pushes his way out between Marietta and Tybalt, and also I'd be remiss to not mention Bernice, the wheat farmer. Pushes his way out and says, I am Flubbert. I am a young nobleman of these parts, and I deserve your blessing.
Well, Gans is a favorable company when it comes to noblemen. He has no doubt hung out with Flubbert from time to time and says, Flubbert, my old friend, your boldness, well, as we know, fortune favors the bold. And so he sings a song about Flubbert where it is entitled A Living Legend. And so Flubbert, you gain +1D on all your rolls.
Wow.
Yeah, write that one down.
Flubbert might.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Fabulous. And now, Tyler, how about you?
One of my not aforementioned characters, Blanche, is going to push her way through and say, I am a scribe. I'll make sure that I jot down everything that happens, and I'll probably stay in the back, but we'll see. That's a 9.
A fellow storyteller. Well, he looks into Blanche's eyes and says, well, you no doubt your abilities are going to be as precise as your quill. My fellow storyteller, you are dead-eye and shot sure. And so he sings a song about how Blanche always lands the hits that she aims for, and you gain +2 to missile attack rolls. All right, Hunter.
Someone you haven't heard from, Amos, the farmer, the rutabaga farmer, comes forward, cradling Julius the goose, and says, well, I'm a simple farmer, so I'm going to need all the help I can get. What you got for me?
He says, well, simple stock is the ground from which great heroes grow. And now he begins to sing a song. Let us see what it is with a D14 roll.
13.
All right. So 13 is how he is blessed to his very marrow. Again says, your bones may be old, but heroism is fresh within them. And now each one of your luck points spent is worth +2.
Ooh,
You got
nice.
some halfling luck going for you.
Good.
How about you, Chris? Mr.
Well,
Stagg?
Arthur has the most to prove, so he will get up to find his way to Gans. But when he does, you'll see that he's a bit comely, has a sort of a bent steel helmet, some armor with holes in it, and he seems to walk with a limp, and he probably has the overall physique of pre-serum Steve Rogers. So he like pleads to Gans, I'm gonna need a lot of help, sir.
He says, help is at hand, for you have turned to help others, a noble path to walk. And then, drawing on his pipe, begins to intone. What do we got here?
A 3.
A 3. And he says, your courage belies the fact that though you may be frail in form, you have a mind like a stone. And he sings about the indomitable will of Arthur. And you now gain +2 to your will saves.
Okay.
Nice.
He'll nod. Thank you, sir.
All right. And so armed, we go upon our way. Do you want to have any other questions? Because time is nigh. Those songs took a while. It may have only taken me seconds to describe, but he really goes like full on Led Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven with every single one of you. So we're talking like a 7-minute with some riffs on the ukulele. So now almost an hour has passed, and danger is around every corner.
Surely the
So-
goblins have left by now.
Yes, indeed they have.
Gurdro will check with Helga, Hilda, and just make sure, like, do we know where he was? Where did they last see her husband?
She says, well, when we last saw him, he turned around and went back to the mill. We believe it was, of course, to protect that important part of this town's livelihood. And it's then that the woman with her, Margaret, John's wife, gives a ragged sob and, kneading her tattered clothing, turns around and tells you, I think it was more than that. He's gone back for Emmett's things. I know it. He can't live without them. He can't draw a breath.
I'm sorry, who's Emmett?
And once more a sob racks her body, and she wipes her eyes and says, our son, he died a few months ago. All we have are his toys and clothes. They're a treasure to us. No doubt John went back to retrieve those as well as protect the mill.
Understood. Well, we'll make sure those foul creatures don't hurt him.
Thank you. Thank you. And she clasps your tunic and then lets it go with a trembling hand.
All right, you lot, let's get moving.
All right. Well, outside the doors of the Drunken Dragon Inn, it is silence, merely the whisper of the trees and the faint phosphorescence that radiates from the ruins of Greenspire's rocks that you can see. Otherwise, it is darkness and stillness. And so you walk into that. Now, I would guess that, Hunter, your gate warden would know the way to the mill. So we'll assume that you are leading. And now we can turn to the map, such as it is. Now, about halfway along the map, I should say halfway along the path to the mill, or about half an hour of walking, you hear something that breaks that stillness. It is faint, but you are all, no doubt, rather alert to any signs of peril. And so there's a rustling in the bushes nearby, and you can hear whispers in common. What do you do?
Like voices we recognize?
It is not voices that you recognize. And so I assume by that you stop and you bend an ear. And so you hear one sort of feeble, raspy voice. It sounds almost like the combination of a young girl and a very old woman. It's this kind of wizened voice, but also like a high pitch to it. And a note of innocence. And into saying, okay, there are some people coming along the path. So we got to ambush them. And then the other one, it has kind of a husky tone, kind of like an Augustus Gloop kind of voice, goes, do we really have to? Grunga stole all the money that the weird old lady gave us, so it's like we didn't even get paid to do this. And then the prior voice comes in, yeah, that's why we have to hold these people up. We take their money, then we buy disguises, then we blend into the town, and that witch still might give us the rest of the money, even though Grunga stole her token. And then the other voice comes back, big but tremulous. Oh, okay. Just this one thing, then we never get beat up by Grunga again. What do you do?
Can we generally tell which direction it's coming from?
You can. It is coming from what is on the map to the northeast. It is this bush that I am clicking, which will be beautifully rendered by Alexander Moore at some point. For now, it is merely a humble bush with those radiant circles coming out of it.
I think Froyo will try to do his best sneaking impression to get up there and see if he can get a peek at these voices.
Well, let's see how he does.
All right. Do you want to be trained? He is a halfling, although he is not quite inherited in traits.
he's yet to realize his full half. He's really just like a quarter.
He's a quarterling right now. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a trained role in my book.
All right. Ooh, okay, we got a 12. I'm gonna let it stand.
You know what? They are so nervous and they're so fixated on what's coming up the path that they never think to investigate the subtle sounds of Froyo almost oozing over the various branches and bramble behind them. And so you come up behind Froyo, a pair of small green-skinned humanoids. They are similar to halflings, but distorted horribly. Their limbs lean and lankier with little folds of flesh hanging from them. Their hands long and gangly, and their features misshapen, protuberant. You would imagine that these are the goblins that you've heard about. You do notice, however, an interesting quality of them. One of them, the chunkier one of the two, even though he's holding a dagger, he's got a big swollen eye that's been blackened recently. And the other one has a bit of a split lip. So what do you do?
Assuming that Froyo can see where the rest of the party is, he would like hold up 3 fingers back to them and then do like one of these, like show like a crow sort of nose, and like do like one of these and then like point where he sees them.
Gurdraw's like, what in the world is he doing?
No idea.
All right, well, let's advance cautiously. We don't want to leave him hanging out there.
Biggles is going to start making the same motions back to him.
Yeah.
Just
So what do you do, Froyo? You see most of your party is starting to creep along as if suspecting an ambush, but there is one who stands out, who's doing your charade back at you.
Yeah, I would just creep up, all 4 of my guys, but Far would be pushing the twins to go in the front.
Okay.
I feel like I've held it in long enough that I feel like as soon as there's some sort of inkling that there's a foe to fight, Arthur would draw his long sword loudly and be like, "To arms, you brigands!" and sort of start like moving forward.
All right. So there is a fragile instant, a split second, where the burlier of the 2 goblins actually brandishes his dagger and kind of takes a half step forward at Arthur's call, but then realizing that he's doomed, kind of turns around only to see that Froyo is behind him. And so the 2 goblins gasp and they stumble and back out of the bush, doing a bit of a theatric act themselves, in the sense that they nearly topple backwards. One of them poised to do a back roll, but they barely stay on their feet. And so they're in front of your party, trembling in the darkness. And the bigger one goes, you're gonna give us your money, right? Because we're ambushing you."
Froyo reaches into his small jacket and he pulls out a hex doll, which is an item he has. He says, "Have you ever seen what a witch can do?"
They go, yeah. And then the little feminine one goes, yeah, we actually know a witch. You're sent by the witch?
He'll hold up the doll to the small one and he'll say, This is for you. If I take the head off, your head will come off."
She gasps, and the big one goes, "Oh, don't take her head off. Don't take her head off, because I don't think it'll come back on."
"It won't. That's why I need you to give us your money."
Okay, so they look over at the twins who are being pushed forward by Far. They look over at the rest of the band, and of course Froyo, and the big one goes, but what if we give you our money? Then we're gonna probably have to go back to the rest of the goblins. But come on.
He's gonna reach menacingly for the head of the doll.
So the little one, she kind of like wipes a greasy goblin tear from her eye. She looks around to the rest of you as if there's any hope to be had. Does anybody step up on her behalf? Are they letting this froyo of a halfling threaten her with witch magic?
Well, I mean, Flobbert is going to, in fact, draw his sword as well, having been beaten to it now by someone else, very
Right.
ashamed of himself, and say, "Stand forth, stand to, you wretched goblin, and hand over your money. Can't you see we outnumber you? Or taste my steel."
Well, it seems like the tables have indeed been turned, and now the robbers are themselves being robbed. And so they look at each other and they sort of gulp in unison. And the little one looks over and she reaches into her sack. They don't have many sacks. They have two of them, both of them empty for the most part. But she reaches into the one that isn't empty and she pulls forth this tattered little journal, which says on the cover, "Week's Diary." And she kind of, with shaking hands, hands it up to Froyo. She goes, this is all I have. It's got all my wishes and hopes and dreams. I guess you can have it if you want.
He'll snatch it from her and then say, "Now beat it."
Fabulous. Anybody else?
Near the F is going to tut and tisk at the greedy humans.
So materialistic.
This is a halfling.
A half human.
There you go. Just half again is greedy, which is still very, very greedy in the estimation of your characters.
Wait a minute before you go.
Okay, well, they're about to scoop, but they wait because they'll
Yeah.
do whatever you say at this point. There are swords everywhere.
I've got a few copper for you. If you can tell us what's happening in the mill.
Okay. They look at it, they nod, and we kind of like drives her eyes again and smiles, and she goes, "Yeah, sure. See, we were supposed to scare the guy in the mill away so that Gronga could get what the witch gave him, but then she heard about our plan and she beat us up real bad and she got the secrets out of us, and now she's gone to go get what the witch gave him at the mill."
Do you know what that was?
They look at each other and she goes, and the big one goes, "Real bad magic, real bad. The kind of stuff that'll turn trees upside down and make birds into bread."
Yes. That sounds horrible.
And the little one goes, "I don't think that's what it does, but yeah, no, it is really bad magic."
All right. In fairness, here you go. And he gives each of them 2 coppers.
They clutch them as if you'd given them like rubies and are just overjoyed. And they go, "Thanks. Hopefully we'll see you in Greenspire."
I don't know if I would advise that.
"Oh, no. We'll find you. We're gonna use these to buy disguises, see, and we'll blend in real well." And she goes, and I'm gonna learn magic. I've got a little spell book. And then she looks over at Froyo and goes, "Oh, I had one, but well, I'll get another, I'm sure."
It'll be
Give her
okay.
back her book.
Good on you, Froyo.
She takes it. She goes, Thanks, mister. I hope I see you too. You're real powerful. Maybe I could learn magic from you, huh?"
Maybe, but it would cost you more than those coppers.
"Oh, okay. Well, I'll get a job and then I'll learn how to pull people's heads off too, just like you."
Powerful stuff.
All right, you two, move on.
And indeed, they do move on. And I should say, for the benefit of viewers at home and those interested in potentially backing this, that an element of this adventure is to teach philosophy. And though this is one of those times that in the material, if you are a professor, we call it a time to philosophize without getting too much into it so that our story can continue. This was a classic debate between a consequentialist perspective and a deontologist perspective, with a consequentialist thinking, well, these goblins may seem pretty puny. They don't seem to want to do anybody any harm. So therefore, the outcome could probably be beneficial to let them go, as Tyler and perhaps Hunter thought. Whereas a deontologist would recognize that they were brigands willing to inflict bodily harm on people for money. And so given that that was a breach of ethics and calls their morality into question, it might be best to just kill them. But you didn't just kill them. You let them on their way and you got information out of them. And so now you can progress. How do you progress down the road to the mill?
Which way did they go?
So they went basically due west, it probably intending, as they vocally indicated, to just sneak into the town that you just came from.
Okay. And so I think we should keep going towards the guardhouse or towards this
The mill.
hill.
Yeah,
A mill.
indeed. Thus emboldened, by our success.
Lead on,
Yes.
guard.
Lead on, fair guard.
All right.
That was some sneaking there, Froyo.
He'll give you like yeah. I learned Dad.
So, as you continue down the road towards the mill, the path winds and bends around hills and dense copses of those characteristic Hinterwoods giant trees. But occasionally, you hear rustling, as what you hope are animals scurry through the surrounding woods. But sometimes, you seem to catch a glimpse, all of you, at some point or another, of silvery fur with a glint of a fang in a ray of moonlight. Do you simply proceed?
But I assume at some point some of us have hunted out here. We certainly know the wood is dangerous. It
Yes.
sounded like from your initial description, but from hunting, would this be something familiar or something like, I don't know what that is and it's probably bad?
Well, the decision between those two things is going to be contingent on an intelligence check. And before you roll it, I would ask also, Crow, what is Far's occupation?
So far as my dwarven miner, but it's my elven forester that might actually know more.
There you go. I knew there was one in your
That's
pack.
right. That's right. Near. That's near. N-I-R. He's got a sense about this place. In fact, he scratches little information on his staff to kind of keep remembering what is significant about this forest. So what kind of role do I do there?
Well, in that case, given the scratches on the staff, which I found to be an interesting characteristic element, I would like you to give me an intelligence check on a D24. Now, Hunter, you mentioned also that you had somebody savvy with these woods. So why don't you give me an intelligence check? This will be trained for you.
Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ah,
Slash roll.
only an 8 on the D24.
And you wanted me D20 or D24 as well?
You're going to be D20.
Okay. And -1. 14.
All right. Well, 14 actually is what we're looking for. Crow, though you have tracked this wood many a time, you're not sure what to make of that the little glimpses of a feral shape that you see sliding through the shadows. But Hunter, your character, and which character are we talking about?
This would be the farmer, Amos.
Very good. Well, Amos has been around long enough to know the shape of a wolf. He's driven off many wolf in time, and this is a particularly large specimen. He assembles it from what glimpses he sees, and it seems like that wolf is stalking along with you. It doesn't seem to be attacking. It seems to be sort of screening the group.
Near's going to take out his piece of chalk and make a mark, adding some information to his staff. Must remember this.
Here be wolves.
Yes.
Marietta sees an opportunity here and barges forward and says, This caught me really unawares, and I was carrying a side of beef with me. Wonder if we could use that to tempt the wolf into leaving us alone, sort of, throwing it aside, whatever you smart people think. I don't know. I'm just a butcher.
No. These things will love something like that.
Amos knows well.
It's uncooked.
I've
It's
lost some animals to him over time.
So for the first time, one of the twins speaks up, and Jeff says, I know something pretty fun. We could put it on this here grappling hook, and then when the wolf comes at it, we yank it away and laugh.
Right.
You think that's a good idea?
Maybe
Jeff knows
not.
adventure.
Janella, my female dwarf, is like, oh, well, the problem with that is then where the things left over to eat if you pull the meat away.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Maybe we'll let it catch hold of it first, and then I guess you could reel it in if you really wanted to.
I don't anymore, no, thanks.
And so, are we going to go wolf fishing? This is in a direction in the adventure that I have yet to actually script, but there are hints at what the wolf might do. So you might be on the right track here. What do you think? Are we going to toss up the beef?
Marietta's hope was we could, sort of toss it in a direction where we are not, and perhaps skitter away, without being eaten ourselves. But that's just her.
Leaflet, who is also an elven forester, thinks that's the best plan.
Biggles concurs because any side of beef from Marietta is subpar compared to his, so he's going to hold on to his.
For a bigger wolf.
Exactly. So doppelchin beef is the expendable beef.
For the ogre that we're sure to run into later, you're gonna use so doppelchin
with a discerning taste.
she's gonna hand it off. She knows that she's not very strong, but Flobbert, who is feeling emboldened of body and spirit by that song, is going to grab it and toss it sort of here. Let me indicate on the map. So if the wolf is somewhere sort of over here-ish.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So Flobbert will toss it sort of in this direction over here. So that's what he's gonna do.
And so the beef hurling begins.
The beef hurling begins.
Side of beef sails like a sweaty surfboard and lands.
And seeing an Olympic guy twirling and then letting go at the last moment.
So whether that's a strength check or an agility check for a ranged weapon, he has rolled a natural 24 on his D24. So Flobbert takes it. I imagine perhaps he even spins around as it with a hammer toss and lets it fly and poses sort of like that as it is going off into the night, flipping end over end as it does so, and lands with a thud in the
Look
bush.
at the lack of marbling on that side of beef.
But it'll do for this wolf, won't it?
Yes, despite the lack
perfect
of
for wolf bait.
The act itself was just too appetizing for the wolf to ignore. And so as the beef lands, after you have your heroic moment, that no doubt he's been training all his life, let's be honest. The beef smashes into a copse of trees well away from you, and the lupine shape takes off after it. And you hear crash, crash, crash. You hear like a growl, a snap of bone, and then the retreating steps of the wolf. Flying away, running away. You have successfully diverted danger from your course, perhaps.
Never would have thought the butcher would be the answer, but beautiful.
My young friend, a butcher, is often the answer.
I concur.
So many queries.
Right. Well, I talk about emboldened. You've overcome 2 feeble goblins and a wolf that didn't even really show itself. You're just knocking down opponent after opponent. How do you proceed along the path?
Quickly at this point.
Unless there's some other beastie in tow.
But put a little bit of distance.
Yeah, so I hear quickly. What I do not hear is cautiously. And so the situation is that you move pretty rapidly down the path, and then without warning, there's just this little whistling sound in the air, and a few of you, those of you at the head of the column, can see what seem to be shapes the size of bottles, large liquor bottles, with little burning ends at the top of them, 3 coming from each side. And so I am going to need to roll an attack roll on that ambush. First, allow me to populate the map with your foes.
Who would burn perfectly good alcohol?
Our foes.
Exactly.
We
And
shake.
no doubt that is why they are your
Finally, we
foes.
shake says, finally a proper ambush. This is what I've been waiting.
Exactly. All righty. So, quickly going to roll some attacks. There's 1. Goodness gracious. That was quite the result.
Hate to hear that.
A lot of fire bombs.
A lot of fireworks, yes. All right. So now, given that you are a funnel crew, we're going to go alphabetically. And so, the first among you, I assume that this would be one of the Chris's, Chris Marshall. Chris, you have somebody in your band who has an armor class less than 18, I trust. You're muted. gotta own up to it.
All of them, as a matter of fact.
Fabulous. All right. Well, you get to choose which one is going to take a fireball.
We're going to use, the randomization. Well, it's
Very good.
Marietta double chins.
Oh, well, the
So ends
beef.
the beef rivalry.
Yes,
Too
so ends
soon.
the competition.
The fix is in.
Indeed, it is. All right. So we are now circling around. It looks like Stagno, they rolled a 7 on yours. So I don't think anybody in your crowd 7.
It doesn't, yeah, barely. We barely miss on that one. Arthur is quite weak.
I was about to say Arthur's up there.
Yeah.
Now, Tyler, do you have anybody with an armor class of 9? Or excuse me, Crow, do you have anybody with an armor class of 9?
Let's see, 10, 10, 10. And yeah, I have one with an armed class of 9.
Okay, so who is that luckless individual?
Far.
Oh, 4.
But he's swift on his feet, but not swift enough.
It's a horror movie trope. The sergeant always bites it first, leaving everybody else, all the greenhorns, to fend for themselves. So we'll get to what happens to Far in a moment. He's not gone yet, ladies and gentlemen. He may still be sticking in there. But next, that will be Hunter. Hunter, we're looking at an armor class 14 hit. So yeah. I'm feeling that somebody you need to serve up to the fireballs.
Yeah, we'll give it the old 1d4 for the group because they're all below that. So 3, it's Janella, the female dwarf.
Very good, Janella, the female dwarf. Well, we'll see how you and Far fare. And Tyler, you are the last one. 5 does not hit you, which means that we circle around to Chris Marshall's group. Chris, who else do you have to perhaps get hit?
Well, I have 3 others to perhaps get hit. One of my what did you roll? I don't even.
15.
Oh, a 15. Oh, good God. Well,
Yeah.
we'll randomize it again. So we'll use a D3 this time. That's going to be Bernice Haywain, the wheat farmer.
All right. Well,
and her duck.
And her duck. It is an area attack. Okay, so we are going to go really rapidly through the results. First and foremost is Far. So Far, you're going to take 4. Yep. Okay, so Far is a flame, folks. Now we circle around to yours, Hunter.
Oof.
Another 4.
Yeah, she had 2 hit points.
Janice and or
Janella, yeah.
Janella, yes. Now, Chris, an interesting turn of events. It seemed like that initial firebomb was going to land squarely on the Maria Doppelchins. But out of the bushes launches the silver shape of a wolf,
Yeah.
which blocks the firebomb. Grateful for its feast, it absorbs the flames. Not literally absorbs, but it certainly gets tagged by them. And so it lands squarely in front of them, snarling, burning, but defending Maria, who gave it some beef.
That is dramatic stuff.
Yes.
Can we up the stakes of the butcher war here? In that the wolf, from taste alone, knew who to defend.
That's right.
Can you imagine the marketing slogans that I'm going to get out of that?
Yeah.
That's right. But unfortunately, your other PC takes 3 damage.
Yeah, he's dead, or she's
Okay,
dead.
so basically, the PCs that were hit far
Janella. It's fine. Jen.
I forget her name. The tombstone will commemorate it forever.
Yes.
And Bernice, they all, in essence, blow up. They're covered with Greek fire, probably shrieking very short amount of time, and then go down. And you can see the vague shapes of these little humanoid figures. You can even hear some of their snickering in the bushes ahead. And so now we have a legit combat round, folks. Let us all roll initiative, please.
All right. And for the group, we just pick the best.
Yes, you pick your best. That is correct.
Far's dying words are, it never felt right being fast.
Well, these goblins are too busy high-fiving over Far's fateful last words, snickering over the fact that they downed a dwarf. So they are not very high in the initiative.
Ironically, Janella knew Goblin, but didn't have time to curse them before the thing hit.
Well, there will be plenty of time for cursing goblins in a moment. I am going to enter your various initiatives right now for the sake of housekeeping.
Far was the one with +2 initiative.
Yes.
and he never got to use it.
No.
True shame. May he rest in peace.
It's classic DCC funnel, though.
Yeah, I'm about to say, the dice gods have a sense of humor.
Poor Bernice never even got to say a word. She didn't get paid scale for a speaking.
That's right. No talking roll.
She, like the wolf, served her purpose, sadly. Okay, so that means Chris Stagno, your goons are up.
Okay. Can we see roughly where you said we can see their shapes, right?
Yes, let me actually expand the radius which you can see. Let me ask, who among you, are we assuming that each one of your tokens or one of your characters has a light source, a torch of sorts?
I mean, probably. Are you talking about my characters?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Arthur has a lantern.
Okay, so let me first adjust yours, and anybody else say that you have a lantern or a light source. You did just leave an in, so I'm not going to deny you.
I mean, who would go out in the dark without one, right? So yeah, absolutely.
Yes, many of you do. I know you have a lot of demi-humans among your ranks, but I'm going to go ahead and just increase light source region. So now you should be able to see clusters of goblins among the bushes. And so
Matt,
now,
would it be fair to say that one of my humans could grab the lantern off Far before it too goes up in flame?
Yes, a brave deed that could come in extremely handy later on. So you snatch up the lantern.
Grabbing the lantern.
All right. Well, Arthur will draw his sword again, and he will turn to Froyo, and he will say, "Froyo, it is time, like we practiced." And Froyo will take 2 planks of wood, out from his coat, and start clacking them together like horse hooves as Arthur charges over to attack this.
Yes.
And he intends a charge. Can we get the +2 on that?
Yes, you
All right.
most certainly can.
He's gonna need it, by God.
It's made the difference in many a funnel. the charge action.
Okay, that's going to be a 9 to hit. Arthur has very little luck, and he's quite brazen, so I think he will spend 2 luck on that.
How do you feel about that 2?
How about 3 luck?
You feel really lucky about that. Yes.
I do? Okay, good. All right. So that sounds like a hit.
It is indeed a hit. Now, which token did you drag? Full disclosure.
I moved mine up to this guy.
Okay, very good. So you were the green token. Okay.
Yep, I am the green token.
Fair enough. Okay, so that is a hit, and now we can roll damage on that
All right. 1 damage.
hit. Magnificent. And
Wonderful.
to the clop, clop, clop of wood being clacked together, Arthur charges up the goblin, which is a rather intimidating goblin. It is somewhat slimy. It is certainly malicious in its aspect, and it moves with that like kind of creepy old-time film way of jerking around. Well, it jerks back as the sword slices from Arthur, and what would be a sure decapitation instead just cuts a nasty wound down its palm.
Well, Froyo, far to trying to make up for his friend's ineptitudes, will swing one of the wooden pieces at this goblin.
Fair enough.
That one is going to be a 7, which I think is no good.
That is indeed no good.
Okay. We'll just have my crowd barrel down on this guy then. So Leaflet will swing his staff for a 10 to hit. No.
A 10 is sadly too short, you might say.
I'll spend the luck on that then.
Okay, so dose luck, and
Yep.
the staff lands.
And I will pummel him to the tune of 5 damage.
Oh my
Nice.
goodness! Well, that goblin stepped back out of the way of the sword, completely dodges the wood, but does not see the staff coming, which basically brains him like a soft, rotten cantaloupe, and gore goes everywhere. This goblin goes nowhere, just dropping down into the bush with a clatter of cracking brambles. So that is 1 goblin down.
Nice.
And then
I'm
my
hearing-
cobbler will head for another one. He'll head over for this one.
All right.
And he hasn't said anything really, but he's like, he works on some tough leather. This is a burly guy. So
Yeah.
let's see how this goes.
Fabulous.
Okay, that's a 12 to hit.
That's a hit.
All right. And he pulls out his cobbling awl, and with his 18 strength, drives it into the eye
Jeez.
of this goblin for 6 damage.
Jesus.
And another goblin bites the dust.
It's always the quiet ones.
Caught off guard, paying far too much attention to the slavering, enormous wolf in front of him. The goblin does not see the vast man coming towards it until the awl is well through his eye, punched through the back of his skull. And with a shock and a shiver, he goes down squinting, never to move again.
The vast man. I love
The vast,
That is my squad.
So Chris,
All right,
I'm
well,
thinking we hear in the background like dun 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 dun
Dun,
dun
dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
very
Punctuated
much-
by shoes.
That's right.
finest
All
man
right.
in town.
Tyler or Chris Marshall, it is your turn.
Sure. So Marietta, emboldened by the flaming wolf's sacrifice for her, is going to head sort of generally in this direction with Tybalt in tow. And she will take her cleaver and take a swing at -1. That's not going to work. 7. She'll burn. 4 points of luck to make it 11. Is that going to help me out? Is that what I need?
It's helpful, but not
Gotta be
helpful enough.
Not enough. Okay, how about 5?
Yeah, that'll do the trick.
Make it a 12. Look at that. And what is it? D6 plus 1. Do it all with our bare hands. 6. 6 points of
Wow.
damage.
So whenever I
Reflection
see
burn.
so much of a luck score just go up in smoke, this suggests to me that fortune, fate dictated that this was the moment of destiny. This was her big act. So she rushes forward and just effectively lops that goblin's head off.
That's right. That's right.
So it goes spooling into the shrubs and the goblin drops back, spurting from its stump. And so there is another dead goblin for the map.
And there's
but you have more PCs.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I do, but there's nobody left to fight. Let's see. So Tybalt, seeing this brave action, Tybalt Weeshanks is going to head off down in this direction toward this guy, and will also, not also, but will swing his longsword. And wow, the dice are not favoring me this evening. He's going to burn 4 points of luck to get himself to 12 or whatever it was I needed.
Well, it is, yes.
And he will then, in fact, do, oh yes, 3 whole points of damage against that goblin.
Which is enough to dramatically alarm him as you find a crease in his leather armor and effectively open his belly. Now, he's
not to be outdone. Flobbert says, stand aside. Let me show you how it's done. He's right there with him. Swings his mighty long sword, and that's an 18. Now that's actually going to hit somebody. And he gets plus a die, so there. Wow. 5 points of damage, 5 more points of damage.
Very, very good. All right. So another goblin just goes down in pieces as the longsword stroke not only lops off the arm that was holding in his intestines, but also just in a crisscross motion opens that area as well. And so in a spray of grue and awful, the goblin shrieking falls to the ground. He has time enough to twitch, to crawl perhaps a half step, and then falls dead.
Very dramatic, just like Flobbert likes it.
Exactly. Just like the song about Flubber says.
Right.
It's all about the drama here. Tyler.
All right. Raven is going to toss away one of her crutches and use her sling. And that's going to be a 17 to hit.
Which is indeed a hit.
This fellow up here. That is a D4. And that's 2 points of damage. And then Blanche, not to be outdone, is going to use her dart along with her +2 to her missile attacks here. Drop it. Okay, that's a 19. Okay. And that's going to be 4 points of damage to this guy here.
Okay. Click again the fallen guy, because he's not going to be there for long. I had my suspicions. I figured he'd be the target. Well, there's the big red X for you, Tyler, because the sling bullet beans him, stunning him enough that he is open to attack, and then he too is laid low and laid open by the swipe that brings him down. And so I think it bears noting that this has all happened in mere seconds after the firebombs lit up Far and the 2 hapless other people whose names I often forget. It cast the radiance across these chuckling goblins that had mere seconds to chuckle before a crazy charge by the villagers, led by Arthur, in all fairness, completely slaughtered about 4 of them. Excuse me, 5 of them, about 4 being 5. Which brings us to, I think, the last of your PCs, Tyler, and then hopefully we'll get around to Crow and Hunter getting a piece. We don't know.
All right, measured it out, and this is 25. So the rest of my party is gonna step up, taking the other two with them. Biggles, Fast Mittens is gonna go attack, and that is a 12 to hit.
All right,
this is with his cleaver, I should say.
Oof.
And that is only 1 point of damage. And then Stephen, my locksmith, who has yet to be aforementioned, that is going to be an 8, and attacking with his dagger. He doesn't really have enough luck to get up there, so he's gonna have to just stick with it.
Yeah. Stephen, not seen up to this point, still does not show up. It's in the shadows. He stabs away and severely wounds a few branches, but does not hit any goblin. Which brings us to Crow.
Okay, so Mutt and Jeff have this game they like to play where Jeff likes to throw his grappling hook and then pull something in while Mutt is waiting for the club. And
Yes.
so they're going to kind of do a combo attack. What do you want to do for damage on the grappling hook? Would that be improv?
So yes, it will be merely just if you rolled a hit, I will see if he is ensnared. In fact, I will pretty much say he's ensnared.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, definitely not. They got a 2 and a 3. So
Fair enough.
their
Okay.
moves, their moves are awkward and not well practiced.
Very good. Well, you are casting this grappling hook into melee, which in DCC has certain effects. Please, Tyler, if you would, announce either low or high, and then roll your D100.
We're gonna go low here, and
All right.
94. So
Fabulous.
no.
All right. Meant to be. But
Sure
you
is.
cast the grappling hook out. And so one of Tyler's species who is immediately raged is going to get dragged along. Who is it going to be, Tyler?
It looks like it's gonna be Blanche, because she's got the lowest AC, so we'll give it to her.
Fair enough. So Blanche, after a rather heroic annihilation of a goblin, is yanked out of the bushes. And I trust Jeff does not take the swing. I mean, we all wanted to see the two-man scorpion come together, and we got up to the get over here part, but yeah, he's holding back, I trust.
He's holding back.
All right, fair enough.
But also Jeff drops the rope and is like,
Very good.
so near is going to move up and just try to bop that last goblin with a whack of that old staff.
Okay.
So we'll see if that hits. Oh no, that is an 8. That's not going to work. So all 3 of mine whiff, leaving something for Hunter.
Right, indeed. Meant to be. And Near obviously needs to take some lessons from the other Elven Forester. Leaflet, you got to school him in proper staff swinging. Smiting. But Hunter, it is your turn.
So, Gear sees his sister go immolated and just primally screams and, you bastards, and charges, dragging the other 2 along with him up to here. And so he will take first strike with his.
See it.
Let's see, where's his 10? There we go. Slash roll 1d20 plus 2. 8. But given what's happening right now, he is going to burn luck.
All right.
He's got a bunch, luckily. So he will burn the 4 points.
That's what he needs.
And I will readjust that later. And it's a spear, so 1d8 plus 2. Strength. 5 points.
Does the trick. And you bastards resounds over the clamor of the fracas as the spear shafts through the goblin, pinning him to the ground, and he arches dramatically and then falls, gasps, and dies. Vengeance is yours.
Then he just sort of collapses, and he's trying to hide the fact that he's sobbing a little bit from everybody, but he's reacting now that the adrenaline is over.
We all feel it. We're all there. The wolf, however, whose turn is next, does not turn on you, but rather turns away and runs blazing like a dwindling torch off into the distance.
Marietta was going to sort of try to roll around. Just
put it out.
Yes. No stop, drop, and roll for that wolf. It seems to be
That's a shame.
unfazed by the fact that it's flame.
The wolf missed that day.
Right. So do you want to do anything before proceeding?
Loot the body.
Loot the goblins.
Of course you do.
There's more
Of
firebombs
course
in
you
there.
do. Well, the great news is that they all have one more fireball. So it's open to you all. Who wants a firebomb? Everybody gets a firebomb.
Yeah, it's like Oprah. Everybody gets a firebomb.
Exactly. You got a firebomb, and you got a firebomb.
I think my Fosco the barber will take one. Thank you.
All right, Fosco.
Who has a decent agility.
ready to do some damage to light.
Well, I've got to make a name somehow.
There you go. So
Arthur,
everybody,
in this moment, is going to provide his brief but serious notes to Frodo about the tenor of the wood clacking.
was a little off.
Yeah, the cadence was a bit off. It wasn't
Yeah.
loud enough to intimidate his foes.
Right, exactly. One thing
Felt
led
more
to
like a canter and less of a gallop.
Yeah, it didn't really have the war horse sound he was looking for.
And Tyler, once your character looses herself from the grappling hook, you see Jeff kind of like with his foot kind of kick the rope back over and kind of try to pull it back up and pack it away and put it somewhere out of sight for a moment. Tries to avoid eye contact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Blanche will
nobody
then
saw.
subtly pick up her new firebomb and just look at you and kind of like toss it up in the air a couple of times and then put it away.
Excellent. Well, enmities are forged, rivalries grow, but victory is yours. So now you can proceed. And if anybody wants a short sword instead of their cleaver or their awl or whatever you have,
That's a big upgrade.
Yeah.
How many are we talking about here?
6. So they all have 1 fireball and 1 short sword each.
I'll take one for one of my guys.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we could probably all get one. I'm sure we could all use
Mhm.
one short sword, other than maybe Chris over there, who has more long swords than the Royal Army.
I've only got 1 long sword.
He just knows how to use it, so it looks like 2.
There you go.
But
There
yeah,
you go.
Marietta will take. Well, that's I mean, the guy does get to roll a D10 for damage, and there's a lot of good stuff going on there.
Yeah, actually, none of my guys will take a short sword because they have D8 weapons, and the barber is too comfortable with his razor and scissors. oh no.
I mean, I'll
He balances them out.
Yeah.
Yes, Crow.
Furyo
you're
will
all
take an
okay-
extra one.
I was gonna say, if you're all okay, I could take a second short
Oh,
sword.
you can have it. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're good.
Yeah, Marietta knows a good deal. When she sees one, she's gonna grab it.
Fabulous. So you are all armed up, folks. With that, let us proceed, shall we?
Forward quickly and cautiously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Combination stuff.
I know I was rushing the group a bit there.
So the balance of quick and caution sums up to about an hour of walking, at the end of which the forest around the path gives way to a cleared hill, atop which sits a massive windmill attached to a humble cottage of wood and stone. The work of a goblin clan is clearly evidenced by the state of the livestock pens along the hillside path leading up to the mill. Those wooden pens have been hacked apart in places, along with a number of the unlucky goats and pigs. Luckily, many of the unfortunate animals escaped and are now scattered along the path and hillside, nervously grazing or waiting to be corralled. But this path of bloody destruction leads in 2 directions. One, up a short flight of wooden steps to the porch and front entrance of the cottage. And 2, over to a large outbuilding that seems to serve as a shed and stable for the animals. It is from that large outbuilding that you hear the sounds of animalistic screaming and squealing coming from it. The mill's separate entrance is around the side. It does not have a swath of destruction leading towards it. It is located below the turning blades of the windmill, and it appears to be shut. And now we're going to use our imagination, because ultimately, dear backers, I'm speaking to you right now, viewers, sponsoring this project means translating my terrible dungeon scroll map that these players are having to endure into a beautifully rendered map by Alexander Moore. So bearing that in mind, we're going to picture it now as we go to the mill. Yes. All right, so what do we do, folks? I heard a die being rolled. Are we doing something interesting? I see. Welcome back, Crow.
Yeah.
And so what do we want to do outside the mill? We got the mill, we got the cottage, we got the shed, we got bloody swaths leading to cottage and shed. and screaming from the shed.
So we know from the guard telling us, or the wife rather,
The wife, yeah.
that we think that John was going back for his child's belongings, which I imagine would be in the cottage. And if we're looking to rescue him, this is Arthur reasoning here. That's what he would suggest, that we must save John.
Unless the kid plays in the shed, which we didn't.
Well, we know he died, so maybe.
He says to the cacophony of slaughtered animals.
I mean, he
Yeah.
did die. Yeah, he did
I
die.
mean-
Perhaps they put it in a box in the shed with his name on it.
Would
Mm.
either of our butchers be able to tell what kind of blood?
Yes, it is largely pig's blood, a little bit of goat blood.
Oh,
Hmm.
sounds like
I don't know. I'm
Man.
leaning towards cottage myself, but I'll go with the group.
we should start in the most obvious place. Cottage works for me.
All right.
To the cottage.
So the cottage has a set of steps that goes up to a locked door. How do you enter?
Are there windows, peekable windows?
There are not windows, apparently. I'm gonna consider that again, folks.
Stephen is a locksmith and does have fine tools. He might try his hand at unlocking things.
Wow.
How fortunate for us.
Yes.
All right. Well, depending on how things go for Stephen, we will move to the other map momentarily. So Stephen, I guess, is just stepping from the vaults of anonymity onto the steps and then going up to the locked door and checking the lock. Yes?
That's right. Do you remember that guy? No, I didn't even know he was with us.
Right.
And
All right. Yes.
would Stephen be at a D20 or on this with being trained, or with the tools be a D24?
He's a
Well,
locksmith.
before that happens, we need to mention that Stephen walks up the steps and once again proves as an example that the goblins really like traps and ambushes. As Stephen plummets through the steps that have been sawed and then surreptitiously placed back into place and falls into a pit that is full of skewers. So give me a 1d2 roll, Stephen.
Okay. That is 1.
How is Stephen hanging in there?
Stephen still has 3 HP, so he's doing all right.
Nice.
All right. So Stephen may indeed play a role in this yet. So Stephen plunges through the boards. There's a crack and then probably a cry of pain. I'm not telling you how to play your Stephen, but Tyler, tell me, does he call out from having several wooden spikes shoved through his feet?
Don't trust the stairs.
Stephen keeps cool. Well, Stephen needs to give me a fortitude save.
All right.
New England types.
That's a 13.
All right. So Stephen is a tough customer. He's not going to be moving at half speed for the rest of the adventure. Had he rolled lower, he would have been hobbled. But Stephen's still in this. So he pulls himself up and he goes at the lock. And to answer your question, he is going to be rolling a D20 because he's trained for this.
Cool. All right. Even with his training, we're looking at a 3.
All right.
A well-trained
by
3.
the pains in his feet.
That's right.
The expert
Mine-
trade.
My new boots.
He's never had to pick a lock with gaping wounds in his feet before. And it really puts him off his game and he can't quite get in there. And so no luck for Stephen in getting into the door. Does anybody else want to take a crack?
Is there a grabbable handle?
Oh, there most certainly is, yes.
So Jeff would try to kind of crawl over the railing to avoid the trap.
Easy enough.
He would put his grappling hook into that grabbable handle and then hand the rope off to all the strong looking folk in there. Let's get 6 or 7 of us on this thing and let's yank it on the count of 3. 3.
Yoink.
And then obviously he's probably yanking before anybody's ready, but
Right.
you want some sort of roll?
I do from Jeff. I will say that if others rally to his cry and go with Plan Jeff, like that door is coming down. It's a cottage door, 6 people yanking at it. They'll do it. But let's see if he does it by himself.
He got a 17.
He does it by himself. And so on 3, off comes the door. It wings through the air. And there's this loud crack as the door flies off. Another smack as it hits the ground. But the cottage is now open.
What do we see inside of the cottage, pray tell?
Well, I'm glad you ask. It seems to be the interior of a humble cottage. It's been pretty well ransacked. You can tell that even from the distance that you are. The details, other than that, I will leave for when you enter, or perhaps peek your head in.
Marietta is going to size up the door and the size of the pit.
Thank you.
And she wonders whether the door will fit over the pit.
Like a ramp.
The
Like
door will. The door will indeed.
Well, let us then, in that case, she will, in fact, drag the door over and cover the pit so that when we are flung through the door, we don't land in.
Fair enough. Good
And more-
thinking, Marietta.
Marietta's
more
no
important-
idiot.
More importantly, when we have to run out of here,
No,
Yes.
running.
White.
because these goblins seem to like pits and traps and ambushes.
Don't they just? All right. So you
Yeah.
lay the door there. I should note that about 5 seconds after 3, the sounds of squealing animals from the stables dies down.
Okay.
Whatever was alarming these animals is no longer actively alarming them.
Hmm.
So even though you hear some bestial sounds of consternation, there's no immediate alarm or terror coming from there.
They were afraid of us.
They're afraid of the door. Yes.
No,
Yeah,
no
clearly.
foreshadowing whatsoever.
Foreshadowing, maybe.
Oh, Chris.
Arthur is going to immediately start looking around amongst what's left for anything that seems to be the belongings of a dearly departed child.
Well, you're on the right track there, Arthur. Allow me to describe the interior of the cottage, and then I'll give you either a luck check or an intelligence check. You get to choose, and they're going to have different results. But first, the cottage is small but sturdy and well built, with a central room in which there is a long wooden table for preparing food and eating, as well as several comfortable-looking chairs gathered around a fireplace. Unfortunately, the room is currently in ruin. The table has been destroyed, the chairs overturned, and what remains of the family's belongings are strewn about the room. Blood and dirt have been tracked in from the outside by small, rather malevolent footprints, and they cover the floor. 2 doors lead north from the central room, each to a little bedroom, while a short hallway to the west clearly connects to the windmill. Now, you may be wondering, wait a second, on this map that I'm looking at, that's not the west, that's the east. That's because it's upside down. Everything has been turned upside down with these goblins, including my map. But
Literally
you're welcome,
upside down.
search.
Do
Okay,
they know no shame?
among the many things he's not, Arthur is not lucky, but he is at least not intelligent. So we're gonna go with that one.
Very good.
All right, that is a stone cold 8.
Stone Cold 8. And so Arthur, true to form, discovers nothing but blood and rubble and the shreds of the family's once precious belongings, now defiled by the goblins.
Arthur will fly into a rage and loudly and boldly proclaim, "They've taken his son's things. We must slay them all."
So
Right.
Tybalt, on the other hand, being the greedy little grubby moneylender halfling that he is also going to look for these belongings. But if he comes across a coin or two, no big deal.
There you go. There you go. Are you going luck check or are you going intelligence?
Yeah, what he is lucky above intelligence. And that is a passed luck check.
Well, what was the result?
Oh, sorry. I was wrong. I'm trying to roll under my luck. My bad. So it was an 8 on a 10. So, but if you need me to, I don't know. I mean, that's what it was.
No, quite all right. I will give you a result. So he notices two things. One, Arthur, before making his stentorian declaration, really didn't do a very good job checking around. I think everybody sees him throw
I mean,
his
I think
fit.
we all know that. Yeah.
Yes, that is quite evident. What is a little bit easier or harder to discern is that you find several children's toys among the wreckage, including a toy shield. That toy shield has the letters E and S etched onto it. However, there is a bite mark on the shield, seemingly from a small humanoid mouth.
This child didn't know how to use this shield.
No money,
Wasn't
though.
for chewing.
Well, don't forget that the son's name was Emmett. I assume this was his.
Marietta takes a look at that. She knows something about bite marks after all, being a butcher. Does it appear to be a human bite mark, or does it look more goblinoid?
Well, Marietta knows bite marks, and especially the bite marks of a human child. We'll not go into how she knows that.
Well, she was a mother of 12 herself. So
There you go.
Oh God.
Question answered. There you go. And yes, it is the bite mark of a young lad,
oh dear.
not a goblin. It seems like Emmett, as Tyler said, did not know how to use his shield
Yeah.
and bit all over it.
We never asked how old he was. He could have been a toddler. Who knows? Anyway, right. So we'll tuck that away.
Literally, you just tucking the shield away.
Well, we can take a look at it and see what I
never
mean.
know
You
what
know,
it might
does it look like anything else? Is it made of wood? Is it, what do we know about it?
It is made of wood, and yes, a
Has
sturdy
his
little
initials on it.
shield, good for play. It has a little mill painted on it, and what looks to be like a figure that you would figure is probably meant to represent mother and father on either side of the windmill.
Coat of arms. Very nice.
Out of arms.
Cute. Very cute.
Is it
Anybody else searching?
Is it a functional shield with a way of embracing it to the arm?
I mean, you could probably block a small wooden sword with it, but I wouldn't try and block anything more serious.
Not a firebomb.
Not a fire.
Probably not.
Okay.
Stephen perturbed.
I think
that
Near
he,
would also want to look around. Go ahead, Tyler.
I was just saying the same thing with Stephen. He was also going to be looking around.
Okay,
perturbed
so
that he didn't
Stephen
get
is
the
looking.
lock. Yep.
And Crow, which among your band is looking? Because then I would call for an intelligence and luck check. And I should have specified to Chris Marshall, apologies, but when you roll the luck check, what you want to do is roll a d20 and add your luck modifier to it.
Oh,
Yes.
Dylan.
so Near my elf would be looking for anything lore based, anything clue based, symbol based, and it's a straight D20 roll, no
Yes.
modifier, and it's a 10.
All right. Very good. And what have you, Tyler?
Stephen with a 19 for intelligence check.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. Well, Near sort of paws through the wardrobe and finds a false bottom to it, slides it open, and there inside is just this beautiful piece of gold silk. You'd imagine it's part of a larger garment if you want to pull it out.
So he immediately picks it up and proclaims it. This clearly is a sign my people are with me.
And he is absolutely correct in that, because what he pulls out is not only a beautiful green cloak, it is trimmed on the inside with navy fabric and silver elven runes that are worked into the interior hem. You have found a legendary item for your people. It is the Cloak of the Hinterwoods, and it is bestowed upon an elite number of families that have done favors for the fair folk. So you now hold.
That is awesome that the elf found that.
I think that
Indeed.
deserves a damn.
Right?
Yeah, Leaflet is very jealous that you found that.
Yeah, Tybalt looks over at Marietta and says, "Typical elf." God.
And his jealousy spreads like a poison among the party. Now let's see what Tyler, who among you was looking in this?
Stephen, the one who
Ah,
just had the
yes,
foot injury.
Stephen. Right. So Stephen drags his bloody feet over to the bedroom. And so he is alone as he rummages through a cabinet, and he too finds a hidden compartment in it. This one in the backing of the book, or the book, Freudian slip. He, in the back of the cabinet, he pulls it open, and there is what looks to be a leather-bound tome, but it's not any normal leather. You're pretty sure it's human skin. It has an actual, like pieces of an actual skull arranged in the configuration of a skull on the front. It is woven with this kind of thread that seems to be rippling in motion whenever you look at it. It feels extremely foul just to hold this thing. You feel both depressed and exhilarated in a way, kind of like you're at the edge of a building and thinking very, very dark thoughts. So what do you do, Stephen?
Steven's immediately in love with this. Can he like slowly shut the door to the bedroom and then start leafing through it?
Oh, he can. And in his leafing, please give me an intelligence check.
Let's go. That's only an 8.
Okay.
Excuse me, that's a stone cold 8.
But he's also feeling a little lucky if that helps him.
You know what? It might just help him a little bit.
Though he is already short on luck, he is going to spend 4 luck to get to a 12.
My goodness. Well, that is quite adequate for Stephen to pour over the writing in this book, most of which is very clearly written by a bone stylus using blood of some sort of eldritch creature that lingers and sort of like throbs and coruscates as you look at it. You have come upon a book titled The Book of the Dark Fates, Stephen. It holds many, many foul spells within it, but central to its sorcery is the philosophy, not to be confused with actual philosophy, but the belief system, shall we say, that darkness and chaos can be used to justly punish the wicked. And so you have the means, Stephen, to justly punish the wicked in your hands.
Oh, and I shall.
Yes. And one thing that is evident among the other spells in this is that one spell stands out. It is called the Curse of Endless Hunger, which allows you to bring back the dead, albeit in a form that hungers endlessly for the living.
Metal.
All right. So we have done Tyler's investigation. We've done Crow's. We've done Chris. Hunter.
Well, the dwarf is just watching. He's more nervous about goblins than he is about searching. And same with Amos, but Fosco the barber is drifting around a little, just sort of half-assedly searching.
Right.
Wanting to participate, but So
give me a half-assed roll.
All right, let's roll 1d20 plus 1.
I really hope you crit.
And I got the half-assed result we needed. 6.
50% ass the whole way.
Yeah.
Now you just have a bad feeling. Basically, look at everything and you're like, that's not good. That blood trail's not good. That rubble over there is not good. That silence outside from the shed, that's not good. So you have determined.
I mean, I'm a barber. I know blood, but come on.
Yeah.
So
I'm civilized and use leeches.
Exactly. Leeches and razors. Well, it is time, I think, to proceed. Yes, we have exhausted the secrets in this room. But before we do so, would we like to take a 10-minute break?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Let us then adjourn at 10 after the top of the hour, or reconvene, I should say.
Yes.
We'll adjourn until then. And then we will decide whether you go into the shed or bust your way into the mill.
Good.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Dark Stephen.
So far, so good, Matt.
So, shall we on in our adventure?
Indeed.
Let us go.
We have right here, which I need to expand your visibility because you still have like a very limited
Little circles, yeah.
range of circle. Yes, exactly. I'm gonna give you more light.
Oh wow.
1,
Ooh.
there's 2.
Oh, there we
And so you can see that there are the interior doors. They are to the west, not the east, as on the map. And they, in all likelihood, from what you saw on the outside, lead to the mill itself. And then, of course, there is whatever was hiding out in that shed, troubling the animals.
Arthur will boldly throw the door open.
All right.
Wow. So many doors.
To find another
Very-
reception, another door just behind it.
Yes. All right. So, where we are now is as you throw it open, you see the interior of the mill. Its sturdy timbers are silent, save for the incessant slap of its water wheel in the rambling rock scale currents. Its double doors, marked with engraved handprints from the Stuart family, stand ajar. And these are the double doors that lead outside. So something must have opened them. However, the interior looks like just a mill. You see stacks of wood planed in different configurations. You see grain that has been ground, both in sacks and grain that has been not ground. And of course, you see the mill wheels turning. But otherwise, you just see darkness in there. And by the way, this is the mill's interior that I'm now clicking. This was the cottage right here. I was...
Got it. Okay.
Yes. Now it all makes sense.
Indeed.
You could step into, I don't know what that is, by the way. I'm going to eliminate that little feature.
Is this a set of stairs down?
It is indeed a set of stairs down. You see,
And is this a
an open
door
set
to
of stairs.
nowhere in the middle of the room here?
That I'm going to take out right now.
Okay.
Funny thing, when he opened that evil book, that door just appeared.
It vanished.
Spooky. The door is made of skulls.
Only Steven knows the secret.
Only Dark Stephen knows the secret.
He's now going by Stefan.
Oh.
Hmm.
With an F.
With an F, yeah, for sure.
All right. So do you just venture into the mill, much like your token suggests?
Arthur will levy his blade towards the stairway. Onward!
All right.
All right. And with that onward, something stirs in the darkness of the mill. And you hear a voice, both mellifluous but rasping, say a single word, calling out, "Betray!"
Oh no.
Oh no! You know what that
Is
word
it too late to
means.
close the door?
What's that?
Is it too late to close the door?
It is not too late to close the door, but there are going to be any surprise rounds. So you can close it right after this takes effect. I'm going to drop a pair of tokens on the map. One here. And one here. Well, that one didn't appear yet. One here. There we go. And now this one here. And let's see the effects of that goblin voice. Clicking over to my spells. Now. Not great.
Disapproval.
Disapproval. Probably because I
Let's go.
was stealing your bit, Stagno. I should not have done that word.
That's my move.
Exactly. Well, the other combatant just dives out and tries to attack the ones by the stairs. So the figure that lunges out from behind a stack of sacks of grain looks to be another goblin, but this one has armor that's more thickly layered, ornate, and he is carrying both a short sword and a steel. He's a stout little fellow, but he moves as quick as a cat with a dog tied to its tail, a small dog, enough to incentivize the cat to greater speed. You get the metaphor. Anyway, the goblin dashes across the room and tries to attack somebody here. Who is the green circle?
It's Arthur.
It's just
I mean, well, it's Arthur and company, you know.
Yeah.
Arthur and Co. Okay, well, you get to decide who's going to be attacked here.
I mean, it's Arthur. He
Okay,
stepped into the
it
room.
is Arthur.
He moves like a wolf on fire.
That's
Yep.
right.
There you go. That's the metaphor we'll go. Yes. So, well, does Arthur have a 10 armor class?
He does not.
Does he have an 11 or a 9?
It's an 8. If
Okay.
Oh, wow.
He is indeed hit. The goblin that rushes out lunges up with his short sword. He was going to attempt to disarm Arthur by striking him into the armpit, but unfortunately, his frail Steve Rogers arm just comes right off, in essence. And so the sword and the arm tumble down into the cellar, bumping down the steps, while Arthur is left armless and harmless, having taken 6 damage. And I don't think
Arthur is defeated.
Yes. Sadly, an era has passed.
Poor Arthur. Arthur!
He lasted so much longer than I expected.
He really did. Now, as for the next one, that shield bash misses as the goblin swipes it. Who I can only imagine be Froyo. Probably the closest.
Probably. He's right. He's right. He's, was Arthur's right hand halfling.
Indeed. And so he is missed by the shield, which whizzes over his head, and nobody is swayed by the missive to betray. And now we all roll initiative, if we can.
Ooh, yeah. Damn.
Nice rolls. Pair of 2s there for you.
Yeah, I was about to say the dice have spoken.
Yeah, right. All right, I will get you all entered in here. My goodness, you are ready to party.
19s and 20s.
Yeah. Not looking good for the pair of goblins.
Well, the only good news is she didn't get her spell off, because high initiative plus evil spell on somebody is not a good combo.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I put it in there. And yet, this is the situation we find ourselves in. Wall-to-wall 19s. 20s.
Stagno.
We're all just coiled springs at this point, waiting to leap into action.
They are.
Everybody is emboldened to action by the heroic death of Arthur.
That's right.
Well, Arthur,
Exactly right.
The guys out there who burned to death,
Yeah, no, we're not worried about those guys. But Arthur,
Marietta, God,
Arthur.
the poor wolf. Marietta's still upset about the wolf.
Right. Yes, you all remember Arthur's tactical lesson to you, which is basically when in danger, simply charge the enemy. And so you are ready to go. We start with with Hunter.
Yes, so they'll turn on this figure down here, and I guess move up next to it, charge forward as Gur's like, not be betraying anyone today. And for Arthur. All right, so he will strike with his spear. with a crit.
Will he ever?
There it
Okay.
is.
All right. So I have the 0 level crit table all
Thank
queued
you.
out. So
All right.
what's it going to be then?
So, and he's a 1d4. I assume they all are, right?
Yes.
It's going to be a 3.
All right. So he gives her a crack across the forehead. This figure basically resembles a slender goblin wearing leather armor that's painted like the night sky over the Hinterwoods. And she has branches woven around her arms and is carrying a nasty looking scimitar in her hand. She has red dreadlocks, and it's between those red dreadlocks that your spear point slams, parting her flamboyant hair and inflicting an additional 1d3 damage with the strike.
All right. So here's the spear damage. Ooh, 8. And then slash roll 1d3 for the extra 3.
Oh,
My
Good
goodness.
Lord.
Well, she reels. She's not down yet, but you dealt her a pretty bad one, and she is most certainly stunned by this. She's going to be falling to the bottom of the initiative count next round. assuming
Virginella.
she makes it the next round.
All right. Amos will take aim with his pitchfork, which I think is flat. Yep. And 10.
Okay. Well, 10 is not going to do it. The pitchfork nicks off of that leather armor and then skims the grain sack she was hiding behind.
And Fosco will try with his razor / dagger. And he's flat as well. Nope. 7.
And so that notches her armor and does little else. But we are up to Crow's turn.
So Mutt, excited to have a firebomb in her hand and was hefting it, seeing how it would throw, is going to heave it in the direction of that caster goblin.
Yes, the one down here.
And wait, is there somebody in melee with her?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The 3 people who just did melee actions.
We're also
Okay,
inside a wooden
it's-
building, but
Yeah.
So
it's
she's
grapple.
not-
It's grapple hook redux.
But this time it's firebomb, and she did roll a 3, so she missed a ranged attack into melee.
Right. So, Hunter, please
Yes.
choose low or high and then give me a D100 roll.
I will say high / roll 1d100. 77.
That is high. All right. So the firebomb arcs over you, hits the grain, which of course just blows up. So it's all very dramatic and embers cast everywhere, but you are unharmed by the conflagration, as is she. But everything on that area is burning, and I'm going to rule that it's going to continue to burn and spread. Using firebombs in the mill is a bold choice.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
And
Yeah, you get a glance back from them like,
Jeff is very confused by this change of tactics, because Mutt and Jeff had always done this pull and crack move. He had his grappling hook ready, but now he
Right.
doesn't know what to do. So he just charges forth to try to push that goblin into the fire.
There you go.
What kind of roll do you want there?
Just a simple attack, and if it
How's a
lands,
14? How's a
Oh,
14?
I'll tell you, 14 is going to do it. And now do a strength check, please.
You said now do a strength check?
Yes.
A 14 again.
All right, and she fails, and so Jeff just shoves her back into the flames, and into the flames she goes, and the burning blade smothers her limbs and begins to spread its fire.
nice.
Near the elf is going to just flourish his cloak, give a little bit of a twirl, and clap his hands, golf clap.
And my group looks back over at you, suddenly realizing this master stroke of a plan that you guys had to set the fire and then to push her into it. They think you're genius.
You're a genius.
All coming together. All right, so are we on to the next then? All right, Marshall.
Flubber
Sure.
Fierce. Whoops, that wasn't what I meant to do. Sorry, I'm in the wrong tool set here. There we go. Flobbert Fierce Fire, and also wants to avenge Arthur. His,
As you should.
his soulmate. Oh, Arthur or Flobbert, I'm sorry, rolls up on that goblin, rolls a 20 on a D24, so not a crit and does 3 points of damage to the goblin.
All right.
Now, Tybalt, emboldened by this, also takes a crack. Oh dear, that is only a 7. That is probably going to miss. Marietta, with her new short sword, feeling the balance, takes a 15, or rolls a 15 to hit with 3 damage. So,
All right. He is not doing so hot. That first blow from the famed Flubbert hits his shield, but breaks his arm, and so he.
And I should have said he's screaming for Arthur as he ran up. Sorry.
And it ruined the limb that dealt Arthur down. So the goblin is knocked off his balance and is partially disarmed. And then the next blow crashes into his back, laying him open. He does a balletic spin, and he's still up and panting, but it looks rather worse for wear. He knows that he's nearing the end of his life. That does it for yours?
Yep.
All right. Well, then we are over to Stagnos.
Okay. Joining the cry of avenge Arthur comes Peach, the cobbler. We'll step up to this goblin for a 13 to hit.
13 hits.
All right. Okay, 6 damage. And I think for the avenging of Arthur here, we will put 2 points of luck into that for a total of 8 points of damage.
Well, your ever generous judge would note that the 6 would be more than adequate. So you could
He drives the all through once he knows he's already dead.
There you go. So yes, the goblin, as I say, like staggered back. He tried to find his footing, but it's too late. The awl just pierces right through his heart, and he freezes for a moment and then stays frozen as he just kind of goes into a rictus spasm, holds there, and is dead.
All right. Froyo is then going to take up his sling and fire a shot into the burning goblin mommy in the corner.
Insult after injury.
Yep. Okay.
My 3 flatten themselves on the floor before this happens.
That is going to be a 12 to hit, and I will spend 2 points of luck.
And that lands.
Okay. For 3 more points of damage to her.
Okay.
Julius the goose honks because it hears the rock whiz by.
So she's writhing around. It slams into her turbid form, and she flinches in pain. It's embedded somewhere in her, but she's still fighting.
Okay.
Wow.
And then our Elven Forester Leaflet will pick up the axe, I think you said, this goblin short sword that this goblin has, and move a bit closer to the new quarry over here. You know what? We're already on fire here, actually, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll throw another firebomb.
Yes.
Fair enough.
A second firebomb.
What's better than fire? More fire.
Okay, that is a 13.
Yes.
Is that it? So close? All right, we'll spend the 1 luck.
Oh, it's okay. And that does it. Yes.
All right, it's a T6, right?
It is.
That is 4 points of fire damage.
Okay. So, she's entirely on fire. She's been seriously stabbed and shot. She's shrieking with the last of her breath, basically. Didn't polish her off, but she's soon to go out. And I mean that because she'll take fire damage and die very shortly. But if, Dialer, you want to seal the deal, I won't deny it for you.
Blanche is going to throw a dart and just see what happens.
All right.
That's
That is
insulting, practically.
it's a 16 to hit.
Yes, that hits. And so truly insult to injury. Describe how the ever artful Blanche ends the life of Goblin Mommy.
And seeing that everybody's pretty well gotten taken care of, but she wants bragging rights, she throws the dart right into the center chest, and then shouts for joy that she was the one that killed it. You all are useless. I can't believe it took you this long. And how dare you set this place on fire?
I like that Blanche's speech takes longer than it took to kill.
Yeah.
It's just for Arthur and then a rain of firebombs and stabbing. And then Blanche with the dart. The goblin stops moving. Blanche starts talking. Several seconds later, the mill is safe.
Berating everyone. Yeah.
Well, the mill is safe from the goblins. It's not quite so safe from the fire.
You mentioned
Not
the
safe from
fire.
us.
Yes,
Yeah.
you referred to the fire. Yes, the fire is indeed spreading. Does anybody want to stop this town's mill that you arrived to save from burning down?
If that seems within our power at this point.
It is. You know what? I think a lot seems within your power. You're an ambitious group, and you have numbers. So
That is true.
stamping it out can happen.
You did say there was some water flowing through a water wheel in here, right?
You're
That's
near the
our-
Rockscale River.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of canvas around, which you can pretty easily either dampen
Or smothering,
or simply
yeah.
stamp up the fire.
Mother it. Yep.
All right.
So I know what you all are thinking because you're all veterans of this kind of game. You're thinking loot the bodies.
Yes, we are. We're all
Always
thinking.
loot the body. Yeah.
Assuming
Now, I will put the little asterisk by the second portion of loot, and that asterisk reads slightly charred because you're recovering it from a severely burned body. But on the one that killed Arthur, R.I.P., there is a collection of exotic cocoons in a brass box. And who wouldn't want those?
Who would not?
Oh, Marietta, I think the one who killed Arthur. So Marietta's over there. Marietta likes to look at those. She'll have those.
Fabulous. So enjoy your exotic cocoons, Marietta. There's also hide armor, which would fit any halfling or dwarf in the company.
How do we have a living dwarf still?
Oh, ouch.
We have a living. I've got a halfling. Do you have? I thought Stagno. I thought you had a halfling.
I also have a halfling, but I'm not trying to be greedy.
No, I've already taken one thing. I'll flip you for. I'll bet you have. If you want the armor,
Hunter's dwarf can have it.
Thank you. I'll put it to good use.
Earned it with the eye. And then you have a short sword.
I think. Oh yeah. I'm
Plenty
good.
of those.
I'm good on that. We're gonna have Peach reclaim the longsword. Hopefully, that fell down the stairs.
Hopefully. There is indeed something that awaits you in the cellar that is more than just a severed arm with a long sword.
And our scimitar, assuming it's still in usable shape.
Oh yes. So now on to the loot of Grunga, aka Goblin Mommy. She carries a necklace of raw gems and rare shells that's going to be worth a pretty penny. That pretty penny being approximately 70 gold pieces.
Nice.
So, anybody in for a small fortune of rare shells?
I mean,
somebody who's over there, take it.
yeah.
There's also leather armor, again slightly charred, embroidered with the history of her clan. It's got etchings all over it, and
Wow.
those etchings, when you look beyond just what a lovely map of the night sky, actually depicts some pretty nice moments of their past. You see dances, you see feuds, you see duels, you see births. It's the history of her clan upon her leather armor. There's also a boar tusk with a red ribbon threaded through it. And lastly, there is a scimitar, which, when you look at it, looks real nice. It's most definitely made out of mithril, and it's curved almost like a tongue is the best way.
Like a Chris knife.
Like a Chris knife, yes.
Okay.
But it could be yours as well. It doesn't have to be Chris's.
Oh.
Uh,
I walked into that. I did.
So who would like to pick up the creepy scimitar? I like to think this
all
moment,
right.
like everybody's standing around the scimitar thinking
Oh,
this.
It's creepy.
Froyo will get in there. I'll pick it up. See like anybody else is.
No, he picks it up, and as he does, this feeling of avenging Arthur just kind of begins to snowball, or I think perhaps a more apt metaphor would be rise like an inferno splashed with fresh turpentine. And he just gets madder and madder as he's holding this thing. Mad about Arthur. He's mad about everything that got lit on fire. He's mad that he's having to go through this. He's gonna have to find another job, beat wood together for someone else. So rage just like fills him till he feels like he's about to spit venom. And with them come, as I describe it, uncomfortable ideas. So feel free to lean into the concept of uncomfortable ideas into your role play, and you will enjoy benefits. One of those benefits is that you know that this weapon is quite powerful. It's got some magic in it.
Okay. So you have a sense of what sort of magic he now, his rage now commands?
Yes, he feels like he is capable of casting spells that can summon darkness, paralyze others, and perhaps give a word of command. And moreover, those spells are in addition to his other action die.
Wow.
Wow.
That's quite good. All right. He feels a need with his rage, and he and sort of storms towards the stair. We must find Arthur. We must find anyone who might hurt our people. Froyo has never been so loud and bold. It's a clear departure from his like pretty chill demeanor previously.
My squad clears a wide path.
Yeah.
He's headed straight down the stairs. There's no more waiting here for him.
Okay.
Certainly not. Well, we will wait a little while for Crow to return. For we have lost one of our.
I did not see that he had.
I will use this pause to move your tokens down to the level of the cellar.
It seemed like a good time and use of our pause.
He is typing.
Did anyone take the boar tusk necklace?
Mm-mm.
I think I'll grab that. Raven knows that it could be worth something. It may not be as fancy as the fancy necklace, but
darn right it could. It's got some writing on it. It looks to be in a different language, a language other than human, than common, I should say.
Doesn't happen to be orc, does it?
Why, yes, it is very similar to orc. I'm just going to go with orc. And it says, I love you lots.
Good.
Who is this lots?
I could have cracked the case wide open.
True.
So,
we must defeat lots.
our enemy is lots.
As we head downstairs, is the longsword in plain view? I assume it probably didn't get too far there.
It is. I'll weave it into the description of the cellar, which I will give Crow another minute before we proceed, because we see that there is a sign of life. He is, for those of you viewing at home, still typing in the chat. So we know he's out there somewhere. Not entirely lost to us yet.
Still gamely typing in the chat.
Yes.
Sure.
Come back to us, Sir Crow. We
Sure.
need you and your might.
Use your Eldritch book.
To bring him back. Aha, he was here.
Fawn starts
Right.
summoning.
You did it. You summoned him back.
He might be undead, but he is playing still. So
Use that sword. Use that sword. Try to manifest Crow.
He's joining ever so slowly, it seems.
Excellent. Just in the nick of time.
By the way, MC Funk, in an act of shameless pandering, actually, I didn't plan this, but I wore my Funk Fest t-shirt tonight.
Magnificent.
Enola Funk Fest. I hadn't even thought of it until I saw myself, and I thought, oh God, I'm wearing a funk shirt. I wore the band shirt to the gig, but
I on purpose or my Castle Whiterock shirt, because I believe you have some crowdfunding that is going to be going up with Castle Whiterock as well. Do you know?
Why, yes, folks. After we launch the BackerKit for old John Stewart's Mill, A Witch's Weird Tale, coming up later this year as a tie-in with Goodman Games will be Descent of the Ancient Vein, the most hellish mega dungeon ever. And I stand by that assertion. It will be a really uncomfortable experience for those of you who want to embark on it. And it's also a tie-in at not just one place with Castle Whiterock coming up from Goodman Games, but 5 places. At 5 places in the 15-level dungeon, Castle Whiterock from Goodman Games, you can access Descent of the Ancient Fame. So it's perfect for characters anywhere from level 1 all the way up to level 8 for DCC, or level 1 all the way up to level 15 for Dungeons and Dragons 5e.
And I, for one, am looking forward to Descent of the Ancient Fame specifically because, as you know, currently running one of your other products from my home table. So
yes, and I do drop hints about Descent of the Ancient Fame and the tie-ins from that campaign, the adventure path that you allude to being A Tale of Two Sisters, now available in digital format, soon to be fully released in print.
So you're saying bring characters we don't like.
Exciting time to be a fan of Witch Pleas Publishing, I think.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Indeed.
Anyway.
Welcome back,
I'll
Crow.
bill you for the product placement.
Is our checks in the mail?
I hope so. I think they're down here in this basement, actually.
Nice.
And Crow, we did not go on without you.
I felt that. I appreciate, taking a pause for the plugs was a good idea.
It worked out perfectly. Yes. Not that we arranged this ahead of time. But,
That's right. We saw the wink and the nod.
We were trying to use the scary sword and the scary book to manifest you, but turns out you just came back all by yourself. So.
Or where?
More terrors await. Because as your eyes adjust to the darkness below, in the cellar where Froyo leads your charge, you come upon a grisly scene. First and foremost is a severed arm holding a longsword on the lowest step of the stairs. An arm that's all too familiar, and no doubt, even though it lies inert, stirs your heart to see. Meanwhile, beyond that, you see bones and scraps of flesh and fur littering the floor, and a putrid scent fills your nostrils. A goblin lies a few feet away from the bottom of the steps, its muscles twitching and spasming as the last of his life flows from his puny body, and his murderer kneels next to him, tearing at the goblin's flesh with hands and teeth. You realize that the goblin's killer is a human child, a mere boy. But as you look closer, you begin to notice that that boy's flesh looks gray and green in places, putrid and rotting away in others. His eyes are lifeless, staring emptily at the goblin's corpse as he devours the flesh. A voice cuts through the darkness from the other side of the room, and you see an older human man clutching a wound in his side with one hand, holding a pickaxe with the other. And please, he implores you, please, don't hurt my boy.
Time to philosophize.
Indeed it is.
I feel like it's time to philosophize.
You know it's time to philosophize. And have
We
a debate.
bring the chewing shield.
There you go.
Behold, it is the chewing shield.
Perhaps the Schrodinger's boy. Was it ever a truly real boy? Was it always a zombie boy? Hard to say.
I'm a real boy.
Tune in next week.
Light.
So I think now protected better with the leather armor, Gur will move forward, but with the flip side or the other end of the spear, the butt of it, so that if the child starts towards the group, he's not going to try to kill it, but he will try to stop it from moving forward.
Very good.
Each will pick up the longsword as foretold, and in the first moment of real words he's managed to muster, he will levy it towards the old man and say, "What foul devilry is this, old man?"
He says, that's That's my son. He doesn't mean to be that way. I had to bring him back though. My wife and I, it devastated us when he died. I went looking for answers. I would do anything, and the witch answered my call. She gave me a book that brought him back. But he's like this now, and he has to eat. See, we all have to eat, but he has to eat the living.
But did you truly bring back your son if he's like this?
I says, he's still my son. I can't see him any other way. His hair, the way he stands, it's all Emmett.
No, it's but a shell. Think about it. He can't hug you or love you. What would he do to your wife or your daughter if you got hold of him?
And what of him? And what of him? What torment must he be suffering if he has any reason whatsoever left?
I mean, none of us want to see them to go.
And Frodo, in his rage, steps forward and says, "And how many of our number died because of him? Because of your consort with this witch?"
He says, I don't know. It died. Well, what are you talking about? You must have fought off the goblins then?
At great cost.
Lost many of our number.
Right, looking over at the arm at the bottom of the stairs.
He says, the goblin didn't. She's not the witch. She came for this book, the witch's book that holds dark power.
So you
Where
see,
is this book? Stefan asks.
He says, in my bedroom, hidden safely. I hope. He flinches. He says, I'm sorry. He says, Emmett wounded me. He bit me.
Would your son bite you?
He says, well, I would normally say he just did, but now him. He points over you, Hunter. He says, and you. He points at you, Chris. He says, you make me doubt. Do you really think that he suffers? And indeed, like the zombie boy's kind of like moaning and growling. Doesn't seem very happy, even though he's eating flesh.
Certainly he must suffer. Look at him. Look at him, sir.
Does his hunger never cease?
No, it is endless hunger. He says that's even in the name of the spell. It's called the Curse of Endless Hunger. I probably, she told me he wouldn't come back like he was, but yes, perhaps that it really is a curse. And I just brought him to more suffering. If you'd like, you can make a personality check to change his mind about his son being back.
I think Froyo will do one better, and he will boom out a reverberant voice while channeling the scimitar. Do I roll these on D20s?
Yes, you do.
Okay. All right. And his word will be forget.
To the father?
To the father. To which we roll a 4.
and you've taken back the
Sword sputters. And
Yeah, the sword like makes the Millennium Falcon not quite start.
Right. But you did yell forget at him. And so he does react to that. He's like, I can't, this been so much suffering. But yes, you're right. Perhaps the suffering should end. How do I return to my wife? How do I face him after this?
Who are you worried of facing? Your loved ones?
At that, he just breaks down sobbing. He says, you're right. I still have so much in my life. Janelle, Margaret. Very well. We should destroy that book and go back. Have you finished them all off then, the goblins?
We haven't been out to the barn yet. We've killed the others that we've run into so far.
He says, all right, yes. Yes, I know that a large one was charging towards the barn, killing my livestock like a maniac.
Don't you worry. We'll deal with it.
Can you help me restrain Emmett then?
Froyo in his rage will continue. One large goblin, then, you say?
He says, yes. He was heading towards the barn. He had a huge axe.
Perhaps your boy could use one last meal.
Look over at him like...
He says, I guess, what are you exactly getting at? Because he said Emmett is suffering, and I really believe that we should probably put him out of his misery. We'll get the book and cast the counter curse. It will release my son. But where were you going with the whole? With the whole huge goblin.
We could have your boy eat the big goblin.
I don't feel really right about that, pitting my undead son against a goblin warrior like it was some sort of cockfight.
Yeah, well, we could make a lot of money. There could be a lot of betting.
Froyo,
Halfling.
yeah.
So this whole time, Near was whispering into Mutt and Jeff's ears,
Yes.
giving them whispers of a new plan. And right at this moment, he goes, "Now!" And they both run in. They run in towards Emmett, and they're twins, and
Right.
they jump onto his legs. That kids will do onto a dad's legs, so
Right.
that the dad can't walk. And they're both going to sit on one leg each to kind of immobilize him.
All right, fabulous. Give me an opposed strength check, which is basically just a strength check by the strongest one of them. And then I'll see how Emmett stacks up with that.
All right, 12.
All right. Let's see if Emmett squirms free. Yes, he does.
Oh,
So it's now on.
Yeah, I figured.
Let's roll some initiative.
All right.
Yeah, this is how the dice would want it to go.
All right. Well, they're faster than him. They don't pin him down. He's really strong, apparently, but he's got that zombie strength. All right. Thanks for the consistency, Tyler. Another 19 makes an appearance. Stagno. Lost in your uncomfortable thoughts.
Yep, straight to the bottom.
Hunter, 6.
yeah. Caught flat-footed.
There you go. And of course, Crow, 14.
I was distracted by the halfling offering up
Right.
zombie fights.
Listen, we gotta get the rebuild money somehow, you know.
That's
There you
right.
go.
How else is it gonna happen?
All right, so top of the round is Tyler. You see Mutt and Jeff jump upon the zombie boy who starts thrashing around and biting at them. Fortunately, he doesn't sink his teeth in them quite yet. John looks shocked by this and kind of like, "No, what are you doing? And don't restrain him like that." And then it is your turn.
Is there anything within the book that I found just like briefly going through it that could help us in this situation to either stop him from being so ravenous at the moment, or something to make him cease?
Well, you can make him cease existing, basically, by casting the counter curse, and then he reverts back to just a corpse. But there's unfortunately no middle ground with that. You could also use the book to cast Magic Missile, but I don't think that's what you're going for in this situation.
Maybe let's just do the counter curse.
All right. You do the counter curse? All right.
Yeah.
So,
Everyone's like, where'd the book come from?
indeed.
Produces his book.
And that's a 19 on the die. Is
Yeah,
it
no, he's
intelligence?
Yeah.
You're very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah. So as soon as Mutt and Jeff land on him, and it becomes sort of like this cartoonish fracas with rolling around with the zombie kid, Stephen speaks from the shadows, quite literally and figuratively, in this intoning voice. And you speak many unsettling syllables, and the boy just slumps.
Dark Stephen has ended it all.
Yes.
Dark Stephen has.
Oh, this book.
Dark Stephen makes an appearance.
Oh,
And I'm sure half the party's like, who is that guy? Where did he come from?
No, these are just the talents everybody hides, right? I mean,
There you go.
you know somebody your whole life.
Indeed. So John just kind of deflates at this as his
Yeah, I
son's.
was about to say, Amos is going to run over and try to help him, comfort him as best he can.
Well, he's trembling both in sorrow and in the fact that he has a bite wound that sort of is blackening on his side. Now, speaking of which, Dark Stephen, and I'm just going to slip you this information publicly but covertly in a game sense, that you could save John from turning into a zombie. Otherwise, he is going to come back as a zombie, and that half-chewed goblin is also going to pretty soon come back as a zombie. So, just FYI on that.
Yeah.
Then sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, we have no awareness of this. That's why we're standing with him.
Yeah. I have a feeling that goblin may turn into a zombie. But I may be able to save the dad. So I'll go over and start casting the spell to save the dad.
Very good. Well, it is the same unsettling spell as we banish the spirit of endless hunger from Emmett, and now John is restored. Like the shift in his manner is his color comes back to him in bed. He stands a bit straighter. He trembles a little bit less, still leaning on you, Hunter, but nevertheless, like standing sturdy. And then he looks to each of you, and he looks over in the direction of Froyo and says, if you slay that large goblin, I will owe you greatly, even more so than I do now. But, and then he looked easy there, Dark Stephen. He looks over at Stephen and he says, Wizard, take me back to my wife. Thank you for bringing your party to save me and my son.
You are most welcome. Did this goblin say anything to you? And is the goblin alive enough and aware of things? Can it speak?
He says the big goblin that was killing my livestock.
No, the one that's right here that's about to turn into a zombie. I just want to know if it's worth
dead.
saving. Oh, then yes. Please, let's obliterate this corpse, and then we can go get the livestock.
Yes. This is the legends say that we should drive an iron spike through him and cut off his head and fill it with garlic. I have garlic upstairs.
By all means.
Yes.
And so he helps get an iron spike.
Peach will produce his all. It'll be like, good enough.
Good enough, friend Peach. And he looks to Mutt and Jeff to help him dismember the corpse or any of the butchers. So you hack apart the goblin, you pin him to the ground, so he's not going to be rising as a zombie anytime soon. Unless you say otherwise, Stephen.
Oh no, he's gone.
Fair enough.
Amos is like, what in the hell did we get ourselves involved with here?
Marietta is just like, putting on airs. Now he's a wizard. All of a sudden, he finds one book and says a few words. And next thing you know, he's a wizard. I mean, what is this world coming to?
Tell me about it, Beastmaster. You feed one wolf, and all of a sudden, you reign supreme in the wilderness.
One wolf. One wolf.
My goodness. Yeah, so the rivalry builds. Do we want to take it outside, as they say, and leave the mill?
No. I'm not going against Dark Steven. I don't want to be.
No one goes against Dark Steven.
That's right. That's a Sung Soo move right there.
White. Well, you all march out of the mill then, relatively aligned with one another, helping John back to where you expect to see his wife and child, surviving child. And he's silent. He's just kind of gazes around at his home with this sense of sorrow as of seeing everything in a new and somewhat grim light, but still has enough hope that he walks beside you as a comrade, Hunter. He doesn't lean on you. This is not a broken man. But you do see a figure of grief and sorrow as you exit the mill. I will drag your tokens out there into the great white space that is the outside of the mill, because what you confront is a bereft-looking huge goblin. By huge, I mean he's like 4 feet tall, but he's very thick. He's wedge-shaped, and he is streaming with tears. He looks around to you, and he's holding this axe and says, "Which one of you did it? Which one of you killed my Grunga?"
Froyo will hold up the blade.
He goes, "You little son of a fucking bitch, come! You and me right now to the death!"
Froyo is just going to hold up the sword in front of him again and bellow, "Leave."
Ooh. Let's see how it goes, Froyo.
There it goes. Okay, we're at a 10, and I'm going to put 7 luck into this.
Oh,
Wow.
7 luck.
That's right.
Luck.
Pulls a
die with
leprechaun.
luck, it's
Pulls a
your
leprechaun
fault.
out of his pocket, and
Yeah, he is a halfling after all. He might not be a full-blown halfling yet.
that's true.
There
But
you
he'll
go.
get it back eventually.
You're paying it forward, exactly. Okay, fair enough. Ooh.
Oh man, he really
Ah,
wanted to leave.
I kind of wanted that to go a different way, but folks at home, that was a 19. And so he says, "You'll not turn lisping fang against me, little man. That has been held by the hand of my lover and struck down her enemies since longer than you've been alive. Now, come if you've any spine. Face me one-on-one."
Sure, he'll step into the ring with Lumpling or whatever his name is. Wedgeword. Okay. Are we gonna do a duel here?
Yeah, are we gonna do a duel here?
I don't know.
I don't believe in fair fights.
I was
I'm
about to say,
hoping
you
that
vastly
maybe there might be
outnumbered
some
him.
sideline support from Dark Steven.
Right.
Okay. Well, I will roll for the initiative of
Right.
Wedgeworth, aka Harbull the Butcher.
Hard. All right. I mean. Okay, I will roll for Froyo. Okay. I feel like Froyo likely has the upper hand here. He does at a 17.
And Harbull rolling a 1 on his initiative. So he's thrown off. He shook.
Does Froyo feel that this sword has mightier blows than average, or
No, you think that its ability to cast those spells in addition to your actions is pretty mighty enough. But I will remind you, again, it's not an either or thing. You can both swipe at him and try and cast
Oh,
a
right.
spell.
Okay. Well, we will step up to him with our fleet-footed halflingness here,
Mhm.
and spend a spell here to try to paralyze him.
Very good. And I know, Crow, you rolled for initiative.
All right.
I see yours in
That
there.
one. That one is a 16. Don't have the paralyze up right now. I don't know if you do.
I do. So you rolled a 16 on a paralyze?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Remind me what the number is to just paralyze him right now, because we've got a little bit of luck left in the tank here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It is the charge up, basically. The designates one creature within 30 feet and paralyzes it with a word is a 20. So
Hey, we can make that happen.
can you then? Okay.
Down to the barrel bones of my luck here at 3 to make that happen. But make it happen we shall.
Okay. Well, he's paralyzed.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Well, and then
So everybody has rolled in. Crow, your gang's ready to go. Marshall, you're ready to throw down, but it's Froyo who speaks the word. I guess you could just hiss at him if you want.
Yeah. We just make angry rage sounds at him.
Yes.
And
He shudders as if calcifying it, locks up.
And then takes a swing at him as I see all his muscles sort of tense up. Is this a die up, do we think? Or
He's dead, basically.
Oh,
He's
all right.
he's paralyzed from 1d8 plus caster level rounds. So let's see. Why don't you roll me a 1d8?
I mean, I am a level 0, so you know.
You are a level 0, but let's
I rolled 4 though. I did roll 4.
Yeah.
So that's 4 rounds of all of your people just like laying into him. He's a goner. I don't need to be Dark Steven to tell you that. Like he's
Yeah. Please don't bring him back.
Well, you are our beneficent judge, so
Sure.
you outrank Dark Steven.
It's true.
I do. And
Now,
yes.
Raven would like to kind of step forward and take the tusk necklace and put it in his hand, and just say, this is very hard fought. Though she cannot be with you at the end, do know that she was with you in spirit. It is obviously you both loved each other, but she is no more, and you are soon not to be.
Heavy stuff, Raven. I love it. Were we going longer on this? I'd be giving you a luck point for that. It was very touching. And then I guess everybody boot parties into that. Yes. All right. Well, Froyo, I mean, you can lop his head off. This is a helpless target. So why don't we collectively decide how the life of Harble the Butcher ends after his send-off, his beautiful send-off from Raven?
I mean, I would personally let Froyo take the blow, take the strikes kind of thing.
I mean, he agreed to a duel, so he'll just, once paralyzed, he'll just slit his throat and then stay on top of him until the life leaves his eyes.
He doesn't even have the ability to tremble. He just simply bleeds, and he bleeds out on the ground of the mill that he defiled. And John looks on this with a certain rightness. Now, John is restored. Emmett turned back to the peace of the grave, and the mill has been purged of its invaders, as well as raided of its many mystical items. So that allows you to all head home, back to the Drunken Dragon Inn. I trust you do.
We do.
Wow.
Indeed.
This is no time to philosophize. This is a time to celebrate. You have succeeded in becoming the heroes of this stretch of the Hinterwoods, the first heroic band of Greenspires. And the adventure continues there. All of these adventures chart your growth in the town of Greenspires as you learn the secrets of the Elven ruins, of the wizards and liches that exploited its powers over the year, and of course, learn more about that black dragon and its progeny and the witch that started all this trouble. But for now, let us say that you receive your 15 gold pieces each. You get free room and board at the Drunken Dragon for the next month, and you have, of course, earned a great deal of fame in helping John and the town. He is reunited happily, or as happily as possible, with his wife and his daughter, and all is well. So congratulations on finishing Witch is Wyrd, Old John Stewart's Mill.
All right.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hey, you're here.
With reasonable casualties.
There you go.
And
Very
Papa
reasonable.
is still awake.
Any,
Cat ball is still here. Cat ball is still here.
Yes. And for those of you watching, that's a reference to the fact that this is designed for either a full night or 2 classes. You could easily break it up into 2 college-length classes if you wish to teach the material. That material, once again, is going to be available in printed and digital format, along with some exclusive offerings on BackerKit June 14th and all the way to July 14th. So it's going to be a month-long BackerKit campaign. We thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and hope that you support the project. Thanks so much.
I know I will.
Thanks, Crow.
Same here.
Yep.
15 gold pieces are going to go for.